So Disney's had some ups and downs with their live action remakes. Some of them, like Snow White, have lost a bunch of money, and some of them, like Lilo and Stitch, have just been pulling in millions upon millions of dollars. So it's fair to see why Disney's kind of confused. Do people want live action remakes? Do they only want good live action remakes, or are people just tired of live action remakes overall? And in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 recently canceled movies and a few that are still on their way. But first, please like, subscribe, and share. Anything you can do will help my channel reach more people. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that bell icon so you can get my videos as soon as they drop. Yes, as I said, Disney's had some ups and downs lately with their live action remakes. Snow White was absolutely horrible, and beyond the fact that it wasn't good, the main actress that was in the movie kept sharing her opinions about how she hated the original film. You know, the original cartoon that put Disney on the map? Yeah, she decided to talk crap about that. But not all live action remakes have been losing money. Lilo and Stitch made more money than the entire original cartoon in its first weekend. It is inching closer to $1 billion. And that's pretty good for a movie that only came out 15 years ago. So as I said, now Disney's having to relook at their movies that they're deciding to make live action remakes on. Which ones will they keep moving forward with, and which ones will they halt? So let's talk about the ones that are still moving forward. Hercules is on its way. The Russo brothers are still making Hercules, though as of recently I've heard that it might actually be called Hades, which is perfectly fine in my books because Hades was my favorite character in that film. But nonetheless, Hercules is almost a guaranteed win. As long as they can cross all the hurdles and actually pick an actor to play Hercules that looks like Hercules. We need someone not just young, but they need to be buff, and they need to actually look like a live-action Hercules and not some random dude that they decided to pick because they thought that it would make the audiences happy. The next movie that has been brought back into production is the live-action Tangled. Now, Tangled is kind of up in the air. Who are they going to pick? I've actually heard people talk about wanting to have Mandy Moore, and while she was the voice of the original character, Mandy Moore is in her mid-40s now. The character in Tangled, I believe, is turning like 17 or 18 in the movie. So more than likely, if you want Mandy Moore, she can play the original mom, or even the witch, but she should not be playing the princess. Nonetheless, they are going to move forward with Tangled. It had great music, it had some decent action, and it was actually funny. As long as Disney plays their cards right, I could see Tangled making well over $500 million. But as I said, this week Disney made some announcements of movies that they decided to stop moving forward with. The first one is Aladdin 2. And it's interesting that they called it Aladdin 2 and not The Return of Jafar, because if you were growing up like me, Aladdin 2 was The Return of Jafar. And honestly, that movie was awesome. Though it probably went straight to VHS, nonetheless, I love The Return of Jafar. Nevertheless, I'm glad they're not making a sequel to that abomination that came out 7 years ago. It did not need to be made. And I've spent a lot of time talking shit about Will Smith on this channel, but let's just say this, nobody on this planet will ever live up to Robin Williams' Genie, so stop trying to do it. The next live-action remake sequel that was canceled is The Jungle Book. And frankly, I forgot that they even made a live-action Jungle Book. It just was completely forgettable and not something that even appealed to me when it came out. I know it made a decent amount of money because I think it was one of their early live-action remakes, but I think it's completely unnecessary to make a second one. Honestly, I don't understand what the plot would be. Does like Mowgli go back to live with the animals? I'm sure there's some sort of book. I'm not sure if Kipling wrote a second in the original storyline or if somebody else did or it's just somebody at Disney. Nonetheless, we do not need a second Jungle Book live action remake. It seems like something Disney would spend about $200 million and something that people right now are completely uninterested in. Now finally, the third movie that was canceled is actually something that I may have actually seen. Maleficent 3. I actually liked Maleficent 1 and 2. Now mind you, I didn't actually see them both until like a year and a half ago when I streamed them both on Disney+, but I thought they were okay. Do I think they need a third one? Probably not, but I would have probably gone and seen it, or at least I would have streamed it on Disney+. Now, is it worthwhile for them to spend $200–300 million to make it? Maybe. The first two made a ton of money. Like Maleficent was incredibly successful. Like it made a surprising amount of money when I saw its box office returns. So there were people that wanted to see it. Now why they needed to make a third one, I don't know. But I actually do think it would have made a profit. But it's kind of unnecessary, and to be honest, I feel like we're kind of beyond making live-action remakes of the original cartoons. Maybe that's something that we also need to look into. Maybe a third, fifth, and maybe 12th reason why Snow White didn't work was because it's based upon something from like 100 years ago. I feel like people are finally starting to be ready for live-action remakes of movies made in the 90s and 2000s. I mean, I think that's why Lilo and Stitch did well. People remember when it first came out. No one alive right now really remembers when Snow White came out. And if you did, if you saw it in theaters, you're probably really not even capable of running to theaters to see the live-action remake of Snow White. But movies that came out 20 years ago, movies that came out in the last 15 years, yeah, people might be ready to see a live-action remake. So maybe that's another reason. Maybe Disney's realizing that they need to remake movies that are more recent, not something from 100 years ago. Maybe people are just fickle, and maybe they pick randomly on movies they want to see. And maybe corporations like Disney, where a bunch of people are sitting around a table trying to pick out what will be good, maybe they're not that great at it anymore. And so maybe we'll get more live-action Lilo and Stitches that do well. Or maybe Lilo and Stitch 2 won't do well. To be honest, these days, it's really hard to tell. But I will say this, because of the success of Lilo and Stitch, live-action remakes are here to stay. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Make sure to click that subscribe button and check out those videos on screen now.